Hi, and welcome to another edition of SDL Development. My name is Nate Nessler, and this is for Hyperactive Studios. Now, before we left off with joystick, keyboard, and mouse, and we've done some drawing in OpenGL to the screen, but now we're going to get into some other things in SDL that we can do. And this gets into the whole idea that we could do network programming with SDL. So yes, we can actually have our own game server and our own client, and we're going to start to go over how to do that. First off, let's create our own chat room, and so that way we have our own, well, not chat room so to speak, but chat speak with inside the game, and with our own chat speak server here for our chat server. And then we can also handle other game functionality besides just a chat server. You know, we could do all kinds of other things like, I don't know, there's a number of other things that are really cool that we could do, like updating where the character locations are, position, rotation, etc. So, and then you could also use this for driving interactive development too. So, say you want to have someone be able to manipulate something on your screen and so on and so forth, back and forth. You could do that with this. There's so many possibilities of what you could do with network programming, driving robotics remotely. I mean, you name it, just tons of things. So let's have a look at, first of all, how to set up what I have right now, which is this two virtual machines running together of Ubuntu, and they're networked together, meaning that I can ping one and the other can ping the other. Meaning that I can make them communicate with each other. Okay, there's a better way of saying it. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and blow that up a bit. And I'd love to blow it up more, but I'm afraid it won't fit on the screen if I do it. So ping this address here, right there. And yes, I can do that. I know that sounds crazy. I can copy from one operating system into the other. It's nuts. But there I am. I'm pinging one from the other, etc. And then just to make a test to make sure it works properly, I'm going to ping the other one from this one here. Remember, ping is just a great networking test to make sure that, hey, our connections are working and that we can respond with each other. Because if you can't ping, then there's a really big problem. So first off, we need to make sure that, yes, we are connected and working on the network. No problem. And there we are. We're working just fine. I hit Control-C in order to kill it so I don't have it continuously running like this. Okay. So there we go. Very cool. How did I do this? Okay, let's talk about that. Now, before I went over how to set up Ubuntu, but I didn't show how to set up two different copies of it like that running together. Let's look at that real quick. Inside of my wrong folder, inside of my other folder here, there was this Ubuntu 10.4 that was created when I installed it. I then created my own folder by right-clicking inside of Windows, and I said New Folder, and then created another folder. Now remember, I can also set up my VMware player running in Ubuntu and run copies of Windows or Linux or network Windows and Linux together or whatever. It doesn't matter. I can network multiple operating systems together and make sure they all work together with this VMware player. So it's very powerful and very cool. It's really great for network testing, but also for just so you can run applications on another operating system that you don't normally be able to do because you don't have that operating system. So it lets you do a lot of extra stuff that you wouldn't normally be able to do. Go here and say New here, and then Folder, and then name that folder. In my case, I named mine Ubuntu Developer 10.4, and just type that in, or whatever you want to call yours. It doesn't matter to me. All I did after that was went in here and selected all these files here, and then I copied and pasted them right into my other folder. So I literally just dragged them over, held down Control in order to give me the little plus sign there next to my folder, and then I let go and copy it. Alright. And that copied all those files over into that folder. Awesome. So that's all I had to do. Once I did that, then it was just a matter of coming in here, pulling up my VMware player, as so, and launching it, like here. And then I had two entries. Then I had two entries with the same name, matter of fact, and that was a bit of a problem. So I'm not going to take ownership away. But basically what I did from there was I went in here and I said settings, for the settings on it, and when I went into the settings I changed the name from Ubuntu 64-bit for the other entry, or sorry, first of all I went to File and I said Open Virtual Machine. Then I went into Ubuntu Developer 10.04 and selected this one here. that loaded up another one with the exact same name, which then I changed the name. And I changed the name by going in here to the virtual settings, machine settings, and came up there. You can see the name, and you can actually edit and change it. I would show you right now, but I can't because I'm already running one of both of these, so that's not going to be possible. Once I changed it, that's all I had to do. That was it. I also went to my settings and increased my RAM from 512 to 2048 by 2048, which is 2 gigs of RAM each. Now this system has 6 gigs of RAM on it, so I can do this. But if your computer doesn't have enough RAM to do what I just said, don't do that, please. You can keep it at 512 and it'll get by for our purposes here. I have more RAM on this particular system, so I could do something like that. My other computer I have 12 gigs of RAM, so I can, free to do all kinds of stuff. It is nice to have more RAM on your system for doing this kind of stuff, because then you have more resources to create more virtual machines in order to do more testing and programming between different operating systems and different setups. Key note here though, I wasn't able to do joystick in Linux inside of a virtual machine, but I could on an actual Linux installation. And the reason why is it didn't get access to the actual joystick here. Maybe you would on the actual workstation version of VMware Player, but not on the free VMware Player one that I have. So be aware of that, because that certainly makes a difference. Okay, so with that, that's how I got it going. And I just double clicked each of these and launched them both. Then I went ahead and logged in to each virtual machine here when it came up for my name and my user, and I got into it. Awesome. The other thing I did is I set up a connection. Now I haven't talked about this I don't think yet, but I set up a connection between my Linux and the Windows. Let me show you how I did that real quick. Oops. Well, yeah, that works. So I'm just taking over. Alright, let me show you guys real quick what I just did. I just double clicked on this thing right here, but you could also hit this to expand it either way. I'm going to show you how I did this setup here where I accessed inside of here. You want to do this for both of them so you get the folders for both. I'll show you what I mean here. So let me go ahead and just blow this up so you can easily see what's going on. And let me go ahead and enlarge this too. Alright. So let's connect to network. Cool. Alright, and so I'm going into the actual local machine that is running this virtual machine system. Meaning to say that the actual computer here that I'm running my VMware Player in, I'm now accessing it through my VMware Player. So I am also networked with a computer that's actually launched my VMware Player. So I can now access the files inside of it, which is cool because I need to do that for this particular system. Alright, so I selected both of those. I'm going to go ahead and right click. I'm going to say copy real quick. I'm going to go to Places, Home Folder, and I created up a folder previously called Programming. I'm just going to right click and I'm going to say Paste, and it's going to copy those folders into this setup here. And now I have these Linux setups here for my tests and everything. It's for code blocks inside of this virtual machine here. Okay, very cool. Now all I need to do is go ahead and run code blocks. So let me go ahead and switch to a whole nother setup here. Oh, it wants an update, huh? Sure. I'll give it an update. Why not? Hopefully this doesn't cause a problem for me, but we'll see. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let that update while I do other things. And one of the other things I'm going to do is run code blocks. So I'll just go to another tab because I don't want to compete with that thing. Alright. So here I am running code blocks. Okay. And now I'm running code blocks inside of here. Very cool, awesome, extremely useful, yes. So I'm going to open that up. I'm going to drop back into programming here, and I'm going to choose, let's do the server. Sure, why not? Okay. So there's my server. And I'll go over how to do this code here in just a bit. But first and foremost, let me zoom in on the stuff here real quick. I wish I knew a hotkey for this. Boy, I wish I knew a hotkey. Alrighty. I'm going to zoom in a bit more just because, no, I want to see it better. And which means you can see it better, so there we go. That's pretty large on my screen here for the font. Could make it a little bigger. No, I can't really because I need that to fit. Alright, so there we go. That'll have to do. Alright, so with that all said and done, if I go ahead and build run, awesome. And chat server it is. Oh yes, that brings up another interesting thing. So even though the user may be the same name and all this stuff, it won't match exactly between my other systems. So I need to go in and set up my permissions to make sure that this is going to work just fine for me. So the way I need to do this is through command line. So let's do that real quick. Alright, so if I do an ls here, I can see what's inside of my folders. I need to cd into where I transferred this to, which happens to be my programming folder. So let's cd into my programming folder. And you're like, okay, cool, I see the folders. ls-l, and let's make this a little bit bigger so we can see this even better. And there they are listed. And we have Nate, Nate, Nate all the way down the row with the permissions. You're like, oh, well, it looks like it's correct. It does look like it's correct, but it's not actually correct. I know that sounds crazy, but it's not. I promise. I did this earlier, and it fixed it when I did the settings here. And yeah, so this isn't going to work the way it's set up. Alrighty. So let's do some corrections to this thing. So a few things I can do to change permissions. So I can do chmod. I want to do 770 on this because I want to do read, write, execute for my users, read, write, execute for my group, and then nothing for my everyone else. So user, group, everyone else. Alright, and then I want to have this to be for the network. Oh, I'm lazy, I'm not going to type that. Alright, so network client test folder. Like that. And then I also want to do it for, well, actually I might be able to do a -R for recursive. Capital R, I think. Yeah, cool. So that makes it recursive, and it's going to go through all the files that way inside of that folder. I also want to do that too for my SDL net chat server. Aw, man. There we go. Oops. Got a little crazy with it. Alright, hold on a second. There we are. Bam. Alright, so it did that too. Let's go ahead and cd into, oh no, real quick. Let's go ch own. Let's change the owner and make sure it's Nate. And Nate on this system, not Nate on another system. Alright. So we need that one there, and then we also need it for SDL underscore net chat server. Yeah, that one there too. Alright, awesome. CHGRP here for group, Nate, space. And then we're going to go ahead and do this one too. Lazy, I'm not going to type all this stuff out. And all I'm doing is selecting this stuff and then middle clicking. That's it. Nothing fancy. It lets me copy and paste directly within inside of my viewport. And I can use my up and down arrows keys in order to cycle through previous commands. So, very cool indeed. Alrighty. So now I'm going to go and pop into one of these directories, and I'm not going to do type that out. I'm lazy. Alright, so here we are. Now I'm doing ls-l. Check it out. We got read, write, execute permissions for freaking everything. Let's change it to Ben here. Change it to debug. Problem, and there's our file here. And there we are. So you can see that, yes, the permissions were changed and the users for everything. Very cool. Indeed. Only thing I need to test here real quick. When I was doing that ch own and ch group, was I doing the, you know what, I forgot the -R on those. Yeah, let me go back out of here. So I'm just going back directory to cd ... here. Let's go back a directory, right? Alright. This is not a big deal. Let's hit my up arrow key to go back to previous directories. Capital R there. It's a capital R, not a lowercase r, capital R. Change group. And we'll do capital R on that. Yep. Alright, and I am so lazy, I'm not going through all that again. Own. There we go, man. Hang around. I'll definitely show you all kinds of little hot tricks where you can cut corners. Saves you a lot of time. Alright, so in there, we'll go ahead and switch into our network client test like that. Bada bing, there we are. Cool. And that's really nice. Okay, so we should be set up and good to go. Now, if I build, works just fine. That's all there was to it. So, bada bing, I got it to work, no problem. And that's what I was talking about. It was definitely a permission problem here. Don't worry, you get to see it again because I got to do it on the other one too. So let's go through that again real quick on the other one. And yes, the matrix has this. All right. So from here, very cool. I like the matrix screensaver. All right. So this gets us set up here, but doesn't give us our command terminal that needs to be enlarged. Alright, so let's go ahead and blow that one up on our other one. So the other one was basically becoming server. This one's going to become the client. Whatever, doesn't matter. It's up to me for however I want to do my coding and programming. Kind of like having an open slate because we're writing the server and the client system, so we can kind of do whatever we really want. I mean, truth be told, so, you know, hey. It's the power of programming, huh? Alright, so ls into there, and then if I cd into my SDL here, ls there, bam, I see all my directories, ls-l, and it'll of course have the wrong permissions. Have to fix that. So let's chmod that. I'm going to do a minus capital R here, 770, and then change permissions. I'm going to change permissions for network test one. I'm going to do the same thing for chat server, just so that I can interchangeably switch it back and forth and I don't have to worry about things. Yeah, I don't want to worry about things. Really don't. Alright. Nate, because that's my user. You do whatever your user is. My name is Nate, so, you know, do your own, please. From there, chown. Here, I'm going to change this to GRP here, GRP. Great. And I'm just going to change that from SDL chat server to SDL client test, like so. And then let's do it again for our client test. Alright. Alright, so ls dash L here is going to show us that yes, we got different permission set up now for our network client test and for our chat server. In my case, I want to go into my network client test, so let's go ahead and cd into there, and we'll just rebuild and things will work lovely. ls-l, here we are, and there we are with updated permissions for everything, and it's all looking good. Awesome. Alright, so I need to launch code blocks over here. So I went ahead and put code blocks here. If you want, you can also put code blocks inside of programming is where it's going to be at, but you know, hey, it works. I'm going to go here and I'm going to say open, and I'm going to dive into my SDL folder. In this case, I'm going to choose my network client test here instead, and I'm going to go ahead and load that one and say open. Okay, cool. Over here to edit again, special commands, zoom in, edit, special commands. Where are you, special commands? Here you are. Zoom in, edit, special commands, zoom in, edit, special commands, zoom in. And yeah, I'd like to make it bigger, but that's the limit of what I can do for my, yeah, fitting it in. Alright, so this is as much as I can do it. Okay. Fine, so be it. Alright, cool. I'm just going to rebuild this real quick, just for the heck of it, and make sure everything is working fine. There it is, it's working. Great. Now I'm going to set this one up here over in the terminal because I want to make sure that this thing works the way I want it to. Alright, so ls in here, I need to go into my bin directory, and then I need to go inside of debug. Awesome. Then I need to run this network program. And I need to tell it what is my port. In this case, I did my port 7770. Awesome. And then I need to give it the IP address, which is 192.168. Something, I don't know. I don't remember. Hold on, let's find out though. Alright, so what's the server's IP address? Let's find out. ifconfig. And if I come back up here real quick, here it is. 192.168.11.132. So it's .11.132. Awesome. Hopefully we don't have, there is the potential for, yeah, that's what I'd say. There's a potential for us not to be able to connect because of a firewall or something of that nature blocking us between the two. So that sucks. Or SD Linux could block us too. That's two things that could block us here. And they probably don't have a firewall tool easily available that's graphically set up. Yeah, that's what I figured. It's really not meant for personal people to be messing with their firewalls and their SD Linux. It's typically something you do on the server. So, you know, you don't really like want people messing with them because they'll more likely screw them up than they'll make them work right. Firewall. There's one called Firestarter here. Let's try it out. See which one's gonna love me. One in particular works good. Great. Hey, why not? You know? Alright. So this one's already got the server working and running. So let me show you something here. I'm going to go ahead and network with myself too. I want to show you how to do that also. Oh, and that one's finished. But I want to show you how you network with yourself too real quick. Alright. All I'm doing to enlarge this thing is hold down Control Shift and then plus key here, right next to the backspace key. And it's letting it expand out like this real quick and easy. Okay. So I'm going to CD into programming /SDL. So I'm going to go into, right, where'd the folder go? Oh, I forgot to put it into the SDL folder. Oh well, whatever. I'll do it later. CD in here into network client, like so. ls, CD into bin, CD into debug, like so. You're probably going, well, this is the same thing. Well, kind of. Hold on. Not really. You'll see what I'm talking about. It is the same program. Yes, of course. Same code and everything. I think something else is blocking it though, because if I do localhost colon 27 dot, sorry, dot, yeah, I still can't get to it. Alrighty. Go ahead and take a quick break on this. We'll come back and work through how to get this going on the firewall here. Alright. Yeah. This is SDL getting set up for the networking for the SDL net programming. My name is Nate Nestler. This is Hyperactive Studios. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's have a look at this real quick. So basically what I need to do is I'm going to use something called loopback, which calls to ourselves here, 127.0.0.1 space 7770. And this is going to be our port that we set up in the server. And then when I run this, well, you should run connect to the other part here for the server. Make sure, oh yes, server failed out. Okay. It's because I killed the other program. Oops. Alright. So right here I'm listening for what's going on. And if I run my client side here, now I got where I say write something, saying hello, for instance. Alright, and then it comes back and says, server says hello. Check it out. Client blah 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 says hello. So very, very cool, and you know, that's awesome. And we'll get into how to actually code up the server, and then also how to code up this client. Just to show what else the server can do here. Say I come in here and I do the way Ubuntu works, by the way, is it doesn't have a firewall per se. All ports are closed until a port is listened on. The moment that a port is listened on, that port is automatically open. So we don't really have a firewall per se, but it basically acts like a firewall. So it's really cool, actually, and that makes it where no one can like just hack into something, because no ports are just left open unless they're actually being used. So that prevents people from breaking in as easy to a computer. So that's really cool, and I'll show you real quick here how to do localhost, which is the same thing as loopback. So same thing as doing 127.0.0.1. We do this loopback thing here like this. So if I say connect like that, check it out. You're like going, well, what's going on? Check it out. Here's our server. So see, our server is literally receiving messages from Firefox. I'm not kidding. Firefox is connected as a client to it, and it's received all this input, and then it's sending out to the clients this information coming in from Firefox back to everyone else. So that's very cool. And we can receive and you know, and send out messages from multiple connections for input that's being brought in. So really, really cool. And yes, we can see that we have received this message from the client computer. If I could just get this thing not to super scroll on me here. Thank you. Okay, so here you can see we received it from the Firefox browser. And here, this is what we received. And then we send it out to everyone else in a reply to everyone else. And we send it back to Firefox, and we send it to our other user that's connected here. So the server's working great. And in the next videos, we'll look at how to do that. Also, I want to show you real quick how to listen on some port here. And quit's going to kill it, by the way, for both the server and the client. Yeah, for the most part here. Alright, so I hit Control-C to kill it for sure. The rest of the way. Alright, let me pull up here. Okay, so how do we listen to what ports are open currently? Now you can see before, when I launched this, I had it on, I was getting from port here, 7770 here, and that was being everyone listen on that port. Now that I've closed that program, this port automatically closes for us. So we don't have a port that's open unless there's an application listen on it. So that's really nice. And in here you have chosen to open port 7770, so which is a bin file from. Would you like to save this file? And I could save this file if I wanted to. But you know, I got this information here, so on and so forth, received from the client here, from my server here. So very interesting indeed. And so yes, it did reply back to us, and we actually got information back from our server to our Firefox browser, and that's awesome. And you know, that's really, really neat, and we could definitely have that capability. So I wanted to point that out real quick and show you what's possible there. Alright, so with that, let's see if we can't connect the two systems together. And it is important that I do IP address first, and then, you know, from there, the server. So let me see here. Is this the one that's running the server? No, it's not. Let's see if the other one is. Alright. Okay. Alrighty, very cool. Okay, so this one is not running the server either. Okay. So let's run server on this one here, because we were earlier and it worked out great for us. Alright, so we know this thing works great for the server. And now I'm going to connect to it from the other machine here. So real quick, where I was getting my netstat, I'll go ahead and pull that up so I can see it. Yes, we are listening on 770 again. or 7770. And then I'm going to do ifconfig to make sure, but I believe this is the 192.168.11.32. Now I'm lazy, so I'm just going to select this IP address because I am likely to do stuff like this where I don't have to do as much. Sounds great, awesome. You know, and then here I need to swap this around. So the order was incorrect. It's IP address first and then the port. So make sure you get your order right. Okay, so I'm connected to the other server. How are you doing now? Alright, so there we go. I wrote like several messages and the server's replying back to me each time I write it on between the two machines. So that yes, they are networked together. Check it out. Come back over here and bang. So here we are receiving the messages. See, so now it says how are you doing now? Right here. So we sent that from one virtual machine to the other. One's acting as a server, the other one's acting as a client. Now we're going to get into how to actually program these here in the next videos. How to set it up. Now that we know how we can set up our network here as a virtual system, you could also set this up with Windows. You could network this with the Windows. You could have a server running on the Windows. You could have it run the client running on the Windows. So later on, if you want, you could have, you know, server, client, you know, whatever configuration you want between Windows and Linux here, all running on the same machine. And so this lets you test the whole network and make sure it's all working, that your server software and your networking software is working flawlessly and smoothly and without problems. Alright, so this is very cool the way the firewall type system works on Ubuntu, in that you don't actually have to go in and fiddle with the ports. They automatically open for you and automatically close for you. And once we have our applications up and running like this, then it makes it real nice and easy. And this code should compile just no problem on Windows also. Alright, so with that, in the next videos we'll get into the actual code. Okay, so my name is Nate Nestler. This has been SDL, you know, doing SDL net development for doing network programming. My name is, and this is for Hyperactive Studios. Thank you very much. Ta-da.